Hi, my name's Alonna, and today I'm going to show you how to use a volumetric flask to create a solution of an exact molarity. The first thing you would like to do is get your solute weighed out on some weigh paper, because you will need to calculate exactly how much solute you need to get the desired molarity for the volume on the volumetric flask. This flask is a 250 milliliter volumetric flask, which means that a solution, when filled up to the meniscus, will represent exactly 250 milliliters. So if you know the amount of moles that you added, you will know the exact molarity inside this flask. That's the advantage of using it. So we're going to very carefully dispense the solute into the volumetric flask. Ideally, this would have been completely dry. When you have your solute in, you're going to slowly start to dispense the solvent. So you fill the solvent to get it up to that calibration line. We're going to go very slowly, very carefully. Remember, if you lose solute, your molarity won't be exact anymore. You will need to start over if you lose solute. In this process, it will be a source of error. We are going to just quickly fill it up. When you start to get close to the calibration line, then we won't be able to pour anymore. We'll have to be a little more precise with it. So slowly, slowly. Once you get to this thin part, it will start to pick up very quickly. So what we're going to do is continue to add just a little bit. Now the next thing we're going to do when we get close to this calibration line, like I said, we need to get it exactly on the calibration line. So in order to ensure that we don't go over, we can use a volumetric pipette to get us the rest of the way to the calibration. So we squeeze the air out. Whoops, I'm getting some air bubbles there. We'll have to squeeze the air out, slowly release. It's not important that your volumetric pipette be exact on this part, because your flask is taking care of that for you. Remove the bulb. And now we're going to very slowly release the pressure and add this a drop at a time until we get up to that calibration line. We want this to be a nice slow drip. Sometimes it takes a moment to get that nice slow drip going. So one drop at a time. As you get closer to that line, we need to be very careful, very careful. Now I'm going to take it and check. We need to make sure at eye level that we are at the calibration line on the flask. So once your meniscus rests just with the bottom of the meniscus on the line, you can release the rest of the solvent into with the pipette. You will have it, the meniscus, reaching that line. I'm actually a couple more drops away. So we're going to fill this. We're going to take a few more drops out of the pipette.
The chemicals, yeah.
We need maybe 2 more drops. There we go.
No, I was going to say, it looks like I should have.
Alright, so we are now, the meniscus is resting, if you can see, straight on the calibration line. If you look at it carefully. Next step is going to be to stopper and gently agitate the solution until all of the solid is dissolved. In our case, the sodium chloride was very soluble, so it has already dissolved. Make sure that stopcock's in there nice and tight. And now you have a solution of an exact molarity.